Students will be heading back to the classroom before you know it. And one subject that we wish we didn't have to talk about when kids go back to school is the problem of vaping. Here to tell us why parents should pay attention as their kids head back to school is Eileen Panzarella. She is the Prevention Director at Pathway to Recovery in Hazleton. Eileen, thank you so much for joining us. You want to think about back to school shopping for clothing and books and things of that nature, but you don't want to really think about vaping. But parents need to be aware because you told me this problem is growing. Smoking in children going down, vaping going up.
Exactly. We've done a lot of education throughout the years on the dangers of smoking. And we actually, we saw results from that with adults and with children. But now we have a new item, the vape, that is out there. And so we are seeing 30–40% of teenagers actually either trying a vape or becoming a regular vape user. So we're doing a lot more with education now, focusing on vaping. When we go into the schools and we do a lesson on nicotine, we're basically focusing on the vape instead of on cigarettes. But it is a big problem, and parents really need to be aware of it, that these are not just flavored water vapor, which a lot of parents believe that there's no problem with this, when there actually is. It's a nicotine product. It's addicting on that. And the earlier they start using, their young brains are easier to get addicted to it, which could lead them to smoking in the future, or, just having to use the vape constantly then.
And there's so many chemicals that we're not even aware. You said it hasn't been around long enough for us to even know what the side effects really are.
Yeah, we don't have any, long-term studies, the scientific studies showing what's in it. We do know, so there is nicotine in most of the products. You can buy zero nicotine. The thing is, these aren't FDA regulated. So there have been some studies where they analyze the nicotine levels, and one might say 14%, and they find out some of them are more, some of them are less. Even a 0% nicotine product could have nicotine in, because there's no regulations guaranteeing what they say is in there. So, one thing, you're battling the nicotine, but we also know that there's heavy metals that they are breathing them in. They're getting metals, even from the batteries and that. So you have heavy metals. You have even the flavorings can be dangerous. There's one thing some people have heard of, popcorn lung. And you might think, oh, it makes your lungs look like popcorn or something, but it's actually called popcorn lung because this lung inflammation happened to the microwave popcorn workers. When they were filling the bags with this butter flavoring, which became airborne, and they were breathing it in, they were getting a lung inflammation. They brought in, people to research and look what was going on, and they found out that one of the butter flavorings, diacetyl, actually was creating this lung inflammation. Now, it's okay if you eat that butter flavoring when it goes on the popcorn and you ingest it, your stomach could handle it. But it's the breathing it in, and that's what those workers were breathing in. And so we're finding that diacetyl is actually in a lot of the flavorings that they're using for the vapes. And these are what's really enticing the teens, the flavors. That's why they're doing it, because there's multiple flavors out there. But Harvard did a study actually testing 50-some flavorings, or vape juices actually, just looking for diacetyl. And they found it in 40-some of those 50 that they randomly selected. So we know this chemical's out there, so they're breathing it in, and then you have the potential for popcorn lung inflammation to actually affect you.
Wow, that's frightening, and I never heard that before. Now, tomorrow, you're going to talk with us, actually showing us what these cartridges look like, how parents can see that they can be easily confused with a USB. You're going to tell us more, and the penalties that the students face if they get caught vaping. when they head back to school. Eileen, thanks so much.
Sure, my pleasure.
Today's news feature is brought to you by Feisner's Ford in Freeland, who is celebrating 75 years in business. Give them a call at 570-636-3920, or you can log on to feisnersford.com.